All right, guys, I think the most important part of building is knowing your costs. And this time we're going to get into estimating a lumber package. So stick with me and let's get into it. All right, guys, this is Emmett Starworth, the Alpha Builder again. This is kind of new for me because I'm actually going live right now, and probably not going to have anybody to log in, but that's fine because I'm just trying to get used to doing this right here. If somebody come in, you can go into the chat and I can see how to navigate around this right here. So, guys, I'm actually using OBS as my platform right now. May have to go to something else. Just depends on how hard, how easy it may be. But guys, let me just say this right here. I think that every builder should know, number one, how to really estimate a lumber package. Because I'll be honest with you, when you're doing a lumber package, that's probably going to be around a fourth of the cost of that house, maybe a fourth or a fifth of the cost of the house. That's a big ticket item. Just to kind of make that make sense, on a $500,000 house, you might spend almost up to $80,000 to $90,000 just on the lumber package itself. So now, most of the cases, what you do is you usually give the plans. So you get a set of plans and you give that to the lumber supplier, your lumber salesman. So you usually have an inside sales, outside salesperson. You may have an inside, but you're going to be dealing with the outside salesperson. So you give those plans to that lumber guy, to that lumber salesman, and that lumber salesman is he's going to sit down, he or she, they're going to sit down and they're going to calculate all the lumber that you're going to need. Now, let me say this right here. When you look at the lumber, when you look at that lumber package, just to be honest with you, I don't think that there is any incentive whatsoever for that lumber salesman to, well, put it this way. He's making his money on commission. And his commission is based on how much lumber he sells. Let me see if I can do this chat thing. I thought I had somebody trying to chat over here. He's going to make his money on. So the more he sells you, the more he's going to make. So really, to be honest with you, there's an incentive for that person to actually have waste. There's just an incentive. So, and because this is such a big ticket item, that needs to be done in-house. You need to have somebody in-house. If you're the builder, I would say that if you're the builder, I think that you as the builder should learn how to do this right here. And let me say this right here too. Another thing that it's going to do, I'm kind of going through things. I'm rambling. I probably should have had all this stuff wrote down. But another thing it's going to do is it's going to help you learn better at how to build. As a builder, if you estimate your lumber package, you know every item. You know the lumber. You know the floor and joists. You know the headers. That's actually helping you become a better builder. Helping you understand how to build. So it helps you in that aspect, which is why I think that all builders should be at least at a bare minimum have this stuff done in-house. It should be an in-house item that you do. And like I said, because you can lose so much money on those lumber packages. And I have. If they send out too much lumber on that site, and one of your subcontractors drive a nail through it or cut a piece of it, you can't send it back. Or if a lot of rain or something of it sits on that site, now you got to babysit that. That gives you more stuff you got to babysit and you got to watch on that site. And if the rain gets on it, you don't cover it up and things like that. You don't keep it elevated off the ground, the moisture from the ground to get in that lumber and to mess that lumber up. You can't send it back. And who won in that instance? The person that won is going to be the person who you bought the lumber from. Yes, they're commissioned. They're going to get more commission because you can't send it back. And a lot of times, guys, I'll be honest with you, a lot of times I've had those guys, most of my lumber guys, just going to send way too much lumber. Now, I get it. the lumber guy doesn't want to be out there, because his job is to make sure that when those framers get started, that those framers don't stop. So you paying those framers on square footage, but you're dealing with time. Time is playing a factor in this right here. So we got to wait on lumber to get here. The framers got to stop and stuff like that. That's gonna hurt you. Framers don't want to stop. They want to, especially these crews they got out there now, they want to get in and get out of there. Now, let me just say this right here too. I'm just going to be covering today. I'm going to cover the foundation. This is kind of, I'm going to kind of go a little in detail, but not deeply in detail. But I'm going to cover the foundation today, and I've already written some stuff up, and I may go through the main level just to get you guys to see how I actually did it, because I got everything kind of wrote up on my iPad. But now, if you guys want to get the full version, I'm going to be doing the lumber part for the basement area and the basement walls and the floor systems for the main level. If you want the main level, the second floor, and the roof, which I will be doing in the next couple of days, you would need to join my channel, join the members channel, which costs you about $3 a month, and I give you the rest of it. So without further ado, I just want you guys to understand the importance of being able to calculate this stuff, man, because this is a good place. I mean, you got to operate very lean in this business today. You got to be able to see it all. Like I said, when you calculate your lumber package, you're going to know where everything goes. You're going to have an understanding where everything goes, so that either somebody from your team or you can meet those framers out there on site and make sure that those guys they're not misappropriating your lumber. Because another problem you get into is that, let's just say, for instance, you had some 20 feet 2x12s, and those were going to be used for flooring joists. Well, if the framer used them and you had some 16 feet 2x12s, and you're supposed to use those for stringers for the stair stringers, and that framer used them for, use the 20 feet 2x12s for your stringers, then now you got to buy that. You got to buy that again. You gotta buy more lumber, because those 20 feet 2x12s, you bought that for the flooring joists. Once those framers start cutting on it because they thought they were stringers, you can't get a 16 feet. You got to get the 20 feet 2x12s. So now you got to buy that again. So if you're out there and you can kind of have an idea of, hey guys, this is what you want to use right here, and you can go, like I got this thing on this iPad. You can actually send this thing to your subcontractors, and most of those guys got iPhones, and they can look at it. See, the days of having or you can just sit here and you can draw everything on the plans, which I've seen that done. You can draw it on the plans and say, hey guys, this is how this lumber right here is supposed to be used. And guys, when you actually send out lumber, you want to send it out in loads. You don't want to send all the floor and joists for the whole house. You don't want to do that. You want to do it based on levels. So we're going to send out the basement package first. Send it out first, maybe the first floor, without the subfloor. Send that out there first. Then once they get all that framed up, then you can send the floor out, and then you can send the next floor. Once they get the floor. And you got to watch those guys. That's why it's good to have cameras. Like I have Reolink cameras. I'm not getting a dime from Reolink, but I have cameras that you don't need Wi-Fi. You can just have a cellular feed, and then you can see everything that's going on that site. So you can put on a tree or something while you on your site, and you can actually see. And during the day, you can kind of look. You can go on your Reolink and you can kind of look at, okay, where are these guys at? You can see how they kind of progressing, and then that way the next package to send or what to send them next. You can kind of keep engaged on that. Now, when you talk to your framers guys, what the framers going to want you to do, I'm gonna just tell you, they don't want to stop. So what they're going to do in most cases, they're going to have you to send. They're going to have you to send as much lumber as they can to that job site so that they don't ever have to stop. In a lot of cases, their estimation is going to be way more. So that creates another problem. So now you got more lumber just sitting out there. Now you had to get somebody to drop some more lumber off and you really didn't need it. But if you are estimating this right and you stay on top of those guys and you make sure that they're not misappropriating lumber, this right here, guys, will help you save. I would almost say you can almost save probably $15,000 on each job. I've actually seen jobs where I could have taken the waste from these job sites. There were 3 houses that were built on the same street that I was building on. I could have taken the waste and built me a whole house, almost. That's just how bad the waste is. But if you got these guys, if there's no connection with the estimation and the framers, if there's no connection between the two, those framers are going to be very wasteful, or they can be wasteful. Or the lumber supplier is just going to ship you as much lumber as he can out there because he's just trying to increase his commission. So this is what you guys, this is what you don't want to happen. Okay. All right. So let's go to this screen right here, guys. If there's any questions, you guys can probably hit the chat box. I'm not used to this right here, so this is all new for me. If you guys have any questions, we're gonna try this out for the first time. But like I said, guys, if you guys want the next 3 floors, if you want the main level and the next floor and the next floor, you guys need to go join the members channel. That way, and plus, I'm trying to make it to where people are not looking at my videos and say, I'm going to go out here and build my own house. You know, guys, there's a whole lot more to it. But now the members channel, I give you more information where, yeah, it may be feasible, but don't just get out here and just jump into this thing. But here's my screen right here. And I think let me see if this is a better one right here. But you know, I can kind of use this right here. This right here works good. All right, guys. So you kind of see what I did here, guys. And guys, let me just say this right here. Before you get started, let me tell you, this is actually awesome, guys. What you're gonna need is you're gonna need an iPad. I have an iPad Pro. And this is my first time ever doing this right here. I have an iPad Pro, and I have one of these pencils. And thanks to my daughter, she kind of helped me kind of navigate through all this stuff. So I got those two items, and there's actually a let me see if I got it right here. It's called Freeform. That's why this thing is doing this right here. It's called Freeform. Is the app that you're gonna use, and it comes with the it comes on your iPad. And Freeform is what I use. I upload everything on Freeform, and it connects to my Apple computer. So everything syncs in with the Apple computer. So everything I do on Freeform, I can pull it up on my Apple computer, on the computer itself, and I can look at these things, or I can send it to different people. Okay, so that's what I'm using right now, guys. So so this right here is, I don't know why I turned that color. Let's see if I can move this up here. So I come here, and there's a couple different things you want to do. Like, one thing I like to do is I like to change this right here. So I'd like to leave it where it says auto minimize. You can do it like this and it'll go away. I don't like that because I hate having to keep hitting this right here. So I'm going to take that off. And I'm going to leave it here. And then you want to take off, if you got one of these pens here, you want to take off draw with finger. Okay? Because sometimes the pad to get kind of confused on whether or not my hand, I'm trying to make things bigger. Like, I'm trying to make it bigger. I'm trying to make it smaller. It'll get confused at which one I'm using. And I draw through things that I didn't mean to draw through. Do that. Let me pick the right one now. And then I could, it takes me So it's gonna actually take me a little longer to kind of, so this right here is your foundation plan. So now in this case, this house right here has what you call a daylight basement. And what I mean by daylight basement is if I go up here, go to the elevation plan here. So this is my elevation. When I say daylight basement, you see how this house right here is here, where this side, if I'm looking right here at this side over here, guys, this whole side, right? The grade of the property slopes down like this right here, which means that this entire side right here for the basement, I'm gonna need lumber. It's not gonna be on the ground, so it's not gonna be under the ground where I need where I have the concrete walls. So on this side over here in the front part, this front part right here, this front, you're gonna need walls, concrete walls. So that's what I mean by daylight basement. So if you look at this plan right here, this whole back is gonna look just like this right here. So I'm gonna need lumber. I'm gonna need a lumber package. I'm gonna need a lumber package for all of this stuff right here. So I'm gonna need lumber here. And this is just for this, right now, guys, I'm only looking at this level right here. This is the only level that I'm looking at. Now, coming back here, I may need I may not need lumber over here. We're gonna have to estimate. We may have a little waste over on this area. So I may not need lumber over here, okay? But this is what we look like. And I think the other side, if I'm looking at the other side, this is exactly how this house is gonna look, guys. We graded this house exactly like this. This is what it looks like. So this right here is gonna come out here. You may need a little lumber right here in this little area right here. So this is what we look like. So now, if I go back to my house plan, I'm on the foundation level right here. Now, what you're gonna do is you're gonna build this house just like you building it. It's not as hard. If you guys understand about construction, you're actually building the house from the ground up. So we start from the foundation and we're going all the way up. Now, the first thing that you're gonna need, and I kind of got it right here, and I hate this right here is not big enough. You know, maybe I could just go here. Let me see if I can actually make it bigger. Because since I got the other screen, I could probably make this right here bigger. Let me see, Mac, iPad. Yeah, we could probably make this bigger. Let's see, right here. I can kind of bring it here. There we go. Yeah, we could just do it like this. If you guys can kind of see here, let's just lock it in right there. So I just have to go from this screen to this screen, which is what I was gonna do anyway. If you guys can see, the first thing we're gonna have on this job site, and guys, you know, my dog start barking, that means I'm at home, okay? He's right over here to the side of me. But I have right here, I have what they call a seal sealer. Now, what the seal sealer is like a little foam piece that goes between the bottom plate and the concrete. So on the bottom plate and the concrete itself, you're gonna put that there, and the weight from the house is gonna push down on it. And when the weight of the house push down on it, it's gonna create a seal between the bottom plate, which is lumber, which is treated lumber, and the wall itself. It's gonna create a seal there. So I put my seal sealer, which is gonna be the same amount of, you can see right here, it's gonna be 371 feet. It's gonna be about the same amount of space. Well, that's actually gonna change. But it's gonna be the same amount of space that goes up, the treated lumber that you buy all the way around the house. That's what you're gonna use it for, to create that seal. It only goes on the exterior walls only, which is why I got to change this number right here from 371 to just the exterior wall, which is not 371 because I did some interior walls as well. All right. So if you can kind of see what I got here. So the first thing I did, guys, I started out with my seal sealers first. So I got to go back and change that number. But the first thing you want to put on the house is going to be your bottom plate. All right. And since you're on a basement, all your basement walls are going to be 2x6 studs instead of 2x4 studs. And that's because of the load. That's another thing, guys. You know, you got to get in that code book too. So when you go down to your basement, right, every wall, if I were you, now you could do it two different ways, but I'm just going to suggest that every wall that you do in that basement, every load-bearing wall, there should be 2x6 studs. Okay? 2x6 studs. So my base plate, my bottom plate is going to be 2x6 by 16 feet. So we're going to cut them at 16 feet because that's probably the longest you're going to get them. All right. And they're going to be treated because I know that there's a layer between the seal sealer. I would go ahead and make them things treated anyway, just in case some of that, you know, when it squeezed down, it comes in contact with that lumber comes in contact with that concrete. And that's, so you got to have treated. So I sat here and I wrote all the dimensions down. Now I started on this side over here. If you guys kind of can see right here. So I started on this side right here. This is the side that I started on. And I used in green, as you can see in green right here. When I drew the line there, I wrote the dimension that I had in green. So that was 37 feet on that side right there, 37 feet. Then I went to the back side, this whole back side back here. If I'm over on this side right here, I did the same thing. So I drew the line so that I could remember that I calculated that distance. So this time, this right here is going to be, that back side is going to be 62 feet. And then I just went all the way around the house, guys. I went all the way around the house. If you can kind of see, I went all the way around the house. On the right side over here, I got that side. I got that side with this little bit, and I went all the way around. And I got these numbers that we got here. This is how I got these numbers here. Now, once I went all the way around, okay, I also, if you look at these numbers right here, I also had to go in and get the interior load-bearing walls. Now, how do I know that these right here are load-bearing walls on the inside? Okay, the way that I know that they're load-bearing walls on the inside, number one, he may tell you, but he may not tell you, but guys, if you go really deep into this thing right here, you can see right here where you got these dashed lines right here. I'm gonna hate to keep putting all this color. Right here, you got these dashed lines, okay? These dashed lines right here, what that represents, those represents grade beams. This is the area in the concrete, on the slab of the concrete, where on the slab, the concrete is actually poured thicker. Okay, it's much thicker in that area because that wall is carrying a load, and also you have rebar. So if I look through this whole thing here, you can see those lines, those dotted lines. Like right here, we even have a post. We have a post right here. Those are post beams. Okay, they carry a load. That's what a post is going to be sitting on. And if you can see this, where I drew the red, you can see those beams. Those are LVL beams that's going to carry that load from those. Those posts are going to hold up that load for the LVL beams, which is also going to carry a load as well. So that's what you see. So you can see green. Everywhere you see the dashed lines, you guys can see green. Okay. And I went through all these right here. And that's on the interior. And that's how I got those numbers right there. That's how I got the 17 feet, 19 feet, 20 feet, and 15 feet. Are there any questions? Anybody on the chat, you guys have any questions? All right. So once I got that, then I went to the next thing, guys. So now you go to what you call so once you got your bottom plate done, now you have to go to the top plate. So your top plate are going to be, typically you're gonna have 2 top plates. All right, unless you're doing advanced framing. But in normal cases, your framers, they don't really understand that here in my area. So we're gonna go with the double top plate. So you can see what I have right here, double top plate. So everywhere you see in blue, and remember that I told you guys that on the front part of that house, you got concrete walls, so you got 10 feet walls, so you don't need a double top plate. You only need that bottom plate for the most part. But right here, you can see where I have the blue. Everywhere you see the blue at, you can see right there blue. We got the interior walls as well. But you notice that the front doesn't have the blue that I marked that off. I didn't mark that off in the front because those are concrete walls. We don't need a double top plate. We don't need a wall there because we already got our wall there. But all the way throughout here, you can see where I have my blue. These are all load bearing walls, guys. Now, on my basements, I'm gonna tell you guys, if you guys are building, I suggest you guys to don't finish the basement. You know, I would tell the homeowner it would be a better idea if they wanted you to finish the basement, come back on the end part. Come back once you finish the house and finish the basement, because especially if you got a loan, if you got a mortgage. Now, if they just really rich like that and they got a lot of money and they can afford that, and they can just pay out of pocket, then that's fine. Go ahead and knock it all out the way at one time. I get it. But in most cases, if they're gonna have a mortgage and they're getting a loan, it makes things way more complicated when you go out here and you try to finish up the basement. Okay. Let me see. All right, so I'm not finishing all those walls you see not colored in here on the inside right here. I'm not gonna mess with any of that stuff. I'm only gonna put in the load bearing walls is where you see my green and my green and my blue. That's the only ones that I'm gonna do. So when I do all the interior load bearing walls and my double top plate, I just write them all down. I came up with 246 linear feet. I'm gonna multiply that 2 because you're gonna have 2 of them, which means if you multiply it by 2, you get 492. Now, if you come right here, you can kind of see where I kind of put that stuff there. Right, let me see, I don't know if I can do it like this right here. Right, if you look right here, I have 492 right here. On my treated lumber, I got 371. And this right here is 492. Okay, and hopefully you guys saw that. But let me get back to this right here. All right, so that's how I got that number there, guys. All right, the next thing I'm going to calculate is going to be my LVL beams. Now, LVL beams, the reason that you're going to use that, there are certain places that, and these LVL beams are going to be used as girders. Like if you look, they're going to either be girders or headers. Okay, so guys, if you look right here where I got the red right here, the plan designer, when he drew this right here, he actually wrote out right here LVL beams. So you can kind of see where he wrote that right there. So he actually wrote the LVL beams. Okay, so that's what you want to do. So I marked out. Now the way they're going to do those is now my longest LVL beam. So I got 18 feet over here. You guys can kind of see right here. I got 18 feet 4 inches right here for that LVL beam. And then for this LVL beam, I got 16 feet, or just for say 17 feet. I probably, when I send them out, I'm probably going to have them to cut one of them at, maybe 19 feet. maybe 19, maybe 20 feet, and maybe cut the other one at 17 feet right there. And then I may have them to right here over the garage doors. I'm gonna probably have them to cut, because this garage door right here is it's gonna be 10 feet wide, 8 feet high. Okay, so I'm gonna probably have them to cut that thing at maybe 11 feet. That way they got a little wiggle room. Maybe that one at 11 feet, and maybe this one right here at 11 feet. Now, if I already know what they need to cut this thing at, then they can go ahead and cut that on site, so that when they send it out there, when they send these beams, it's probably gonna take 2 of them on each side. So we got to figure that out. I got to get with the lumber guy and see what kind of span those things can carry. See how far they can span. That's another thing you got to understand too, the spans. Because they may even say I need 3 of them there, or they may get thicker. It just depends, guys. So that's just something that I don't know this one right here yet, but I can have it engineered. It's going to be engineered. So I get with their engineer at the lumber company, and he let me know how far these things will span. All right, but over that garage, I want to go ahead and have those things for the most part cut. I want to go ahead and this one right here over here, this one right here as well. I'm going to go ahead and try to cut that as close as possible and have it cut at the factory. And the reason for that is because I know where they're supposed to go. The framer should know where they're supposed to go. But you don't want the framer to just grab the first one they see, or just grab them and start trying to cut them themselves. Because they're not going to calculate these things just right. They're not going to cut it. If they send it out 20 feet, they're going to cut through some of the ones that you're going to need. They're not going to cut them right. So I'd rather them cut them as close as possible at the factory and send them out there. And then that way the framer needs to know where they need to go. And then that's when I can meet him on site and say, hey, this is where these right here go. Okay? So you got that going on. So now, and you can kind of see where I got this right here. So I got my lumber, I got my LVL beams, and what's the next thing we got going on here? Let's see. The next thing is going to be your 2x6 by 10 studs. So now, and see, you don't have to calculate some of these things. You don't have to calculate again. Let's see, 2. Let's go right here. So now, it's going to take me a minute. I'm trying to go from screen to screen. All right. So now, once you get now mind you, you got to know how a house is supposed to be built, guys. So the first thing you got your bottom plate, you got 2 top plates. But in the middle, every 16 inches on center, you're going to have your studs. You got 2x6 studs because we're in the basement again. So you're going to have 16, or you're going to have 2x6 studs, and they're going to be 16 inches on center, and they're going to be 10 feet because the basement wall is going to be about 9. And now, guys, you're going to have to, you got to order those studs about 10 feet. And the reason for that, lumber comes in even numbers. So you're going to have to get at least 10 feet, but they're going to be cutting them. They don't really know how hot. They're going to have to be hand cut on site. You can't get those pre-cut. Now, when we get to the second floor, that's a little bit different. You can pre-cut those if everything is leveled up right. But on the basement, because of the foundation walls, you don't know if the slab guy got everything perfectly level. That's probably not going to happen. You don't know if the wall guy, when they form the walls and when they pull those forms off, I mean, they're going to use a laser level as much as possible. But did they form everything 100% correct? This is why there's going to be some variation. This is why your framer is going to have to level that up. He's going to have to level that first floor up himself. And so he going to need a little wiggle room to cut those studs. So these right here, so those studs, which I have in, I didn't have in a color because I'm actually using the ones with the double top plate, the 246 feet on the double top plate that we got right here. That's how I know how many studs we're gonna need. So I'm looking at the length of that. Now this is where your math skill and this is where your Excel comes in at. I'm gonna take that, and let me see if I can go right here. It's taking me minutes to go from screen to screen. All right. So if you look at my Excel, right, and I'm gonna go right in here, and hopefully this right here, I'm gonna look at this later on, and hopefully it showed up. So notice that I have 246 feet on this right here, right? Now, in order for me to get that, and that's 246 feet. So in order for me to get the amount of inches, in order for me to get the amount of inches that I have, I can multiply that by 12, right? And that's gonna give me the linear inches that I'm gonna have for all of those walls. So I multiply it by 12, and then I'm gonna divide by 16. Now I got every stud 16 inches on center. So this is, I come in here on Excel, and you can kind of see my formula. You can see my formula right here. So I took this guy, that cell, I multiplied by 12 inches, and then I divided by 16, and that give me 185 studs that I'm gonna need. Then I went on ahead and multiplied by a 5% waste, and that gave me 194. Now, let me show you something else too. Let me see if I can go right here. If I can show you this right here. Now, notice that in the garage, there's gonna be some waste right here. So in the garage area, there are no studs there. You just gonna have cripples that maybe above the garage. And you may have cripples on this one right here, and then on your windows and stuff. Too, there are no studs there, but you can also, now you got to understand, if I'm looking at a window, so what you're going to have on that window, guys, you're going to have a king stud on each side. You're going to have a jack stud. You're going to have a king stud, and then you're going to have a trimmer on each side. Okay, that's going to hold up. I'm trying to think how this thing, but it's actually going to look like this right here. So if you got your window opening, it's going to look like this here. So you got that king stud here. And then guys, you're going to have a header that goes across just like this right here. Trying to make this thing look like this right here. You got a header that goes across right there. Then you're gonna have, it's gonna change this right here. You're gonna have another stud that comes up, which is called a trimmer. That stud is gonna come up next to the king stud and hold up. It's gonna hold up the header. Okay. Then you're gonna have another stud. Well, not another stud. You're gonna have another piece of lumber that comes across just like this right here. And then you're gonna have two pieces of lumber that comes up to hold up that. To hold up that seal. So that's how you gotta be thinking. So you really got two studs here. And then you have, if I look at these two guys right here, that's really one whole stud right there. So even though you have a space right there, you still got to count those studs as well, which is still about the same amount of studs that you're going to have, which is why even if I have a window, I still order those studs for that window too, as though I was 16 inches on center. Hopefully that makes sense. And I added a waist to it. Okay. It may be like a 5% waist. Okay. So I did that part. So we got that, and then we come back. Let me just see how many we got on that right there. So if I go here, if I look at that, so I have, let me see if I can highlight it here. I got to figure out a way. So if I highlight this right here, so I got about 194 2 by 6 by 10 feet studs for the walls. That's what we got here. The next thing is going to be headers. Now, here's something else, guys. here's another reason that you guys gotta know something about construction, guys. If you look right here, I kind of got my header dimension kind of wrote out right here. But what I did was, if you see the little area, the areas where I have that's in, if you look at the areas that I have, like right here, we got a header right there. Kind of see that little area right there. I drew a circle around in yellow. Right, let's see where else I got one. I got another one right there. That's another header. That's a door opening, and those door openings are going through load-bearing walls. Headers is above the doors. They carry the weight around the doors. Okay, the load, they distribute the load and moves it around the doors. So I got that one there. And I have, I thought it was one more somewhere. And actually I'm starting to see something that I missed. So I got another header right here. I got one more right there. So that's 3 of them. But here's what I'm missing. And I didn't think about this right here. So here's what I'm missing. I got one right here. I got one right here. I got a big one right here. I got a one right here. And I got one right here. I need to add all of those right here. So this right here, let's just say this is another 3. This is another 3. Both of these are 3s. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. And I knew this would happen. Hey, buddy. Yeah, I'll be over there in about an hour. All right, man. All right. So that's 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18, 21, 24. So that's about 24. So I need to come right here and I need to add plus another 24 feet here. And let's see, 24 plus. So this right here, we're going to change this right here into the, we're going to change that to 42. So now, if I did my stuff right on my Excel, I'm going to come here. I'm going to go right here and I'm going to change this right here. So the headers, I'm going to change this right here, number right here into 42. And I'm going to save that. Guys, make sure you keep saving your stuff too. So I'm going to save that. And that's what we got there. So this is, guys, this is little stuff. And now mind you, when you're doing the headers, okay, let's just understand something about headers too, guys. When you're doing headers, you got to understand how headers are. So if I'm looking, you actually going to, if it's this long, guys, I'm actually going to have, I'm sorry, and I actually did that wrong. The 24 should be doubled. So this right here should be doubled times 2. Let me just make it a little bit. I'd already doubled this right here. So that's 3 feet, 3 feet, 3 feet. And then I double it, make it 6 feet. But if I got 24, so that should be 24 times 2. And remember that 24, the reason it's times 2 is because all the headers are going to be doubled, guys. So if I got a piece of lumber right here, typically your header is going to have that, and you're going to have a piece of 1/2 inch between the two, and then you can have another header right here, another 2x10 right there. So you're going to have 2 2x10s to create that header, 2 of them. All right, so I need to change that right there. So I got 24 times 2, get that, plus 18. So it's actually 66. And this is why, guys, you don't just want to, now, you know, we're doing the foundation right now on this particular house. We actually, that's what the guy who just called me, he called me because we hit rock. So now we got to dig through rock. So what you want to do is you want to have all this stuff figured out before you start framing. Okay, so we're going to go right here. Where's my other screen? Right here. And I'm going to put right here, I'm going to put 66 here. Then I'm going to save that. Now, so that took care of the headers. So we got all the headers. The next item that we're going to look at, let me just make sure I'm telling all of it. The next one is going to be your stringers for your stairs. So guys, if you look at my stair area right here, now stringers are going to be, you're actually going to have, you guys kind of look right here, is you're going to have 3 of them. And this right here, the length is going to be about 16 feet on each. You got about 16 feet, but the length, so you're going to have 3 of them. You're going to have 1, 2, 3 in that hallway. And that's typical. These are regular size. This is a 4 foot, 48. This hallway is right there. I think it's about 48 inches, which meets code. All right. So when you put your handrail, I think you got enough. I think you got 36 inches. You got at least 36 inches is code. So we got that there. And so I'm gonna go ahead and put that down. So I'm gonna have and they're gonna have to be 2x12s. All stringers will have to be cut. You got to cut 2x12s in order to get the stringers. Okay. Stringers for your stairs. And so you're gonna need 3 of those at 16 inches. I'm sorry, 16 feet each. So I got my headers, not my headers, God dog. I got my stairs. All the stuff's starting to come together. All right, so now I go to my sheathing material. So guys, if we go back to this house here, okay, if I go back to the elevation on this house right here, so I go back to the elevation plan. This right here, if I look right here, all of this right here is going to be sheathing material that's going to go on the back side of the studs. Okay, so this is my sheathing material as well. So we got sheathing material here, which is OSB. Chances are it's going to be OSB. You're going to have sheathing material. Where else we're going to have it? This whole area right here. And we're just looking at this. The only thing we're looking at is this floor right here. This floor right here. So we have sheathing material here. On the other side over here, you may have just a little bit of sheathing material right there. And those sheets come in, those sheathing boards they come 4x8. They come in 4x8 boards, which is 32 square feet. Okay, a feet square. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take, and it's only for the exterior now, guys. So we only concerned about. Let's see if I can get this right here. There we go. We're only concerned about the exterior of the house. The exterior, not the interior walls, just the exterior walls. And when I calculated the exterior walls, I think I ended up with to go to the other screen. I think I ended up with wall. I came up with 115 linear feet around that thing. Now, in order to figure out how many boards I need, remember that the height. Here's something else, guys. There's a lot of stuff going. That's why you gotta know about building, guys. So, so if I go right here, if I go back to that screen here again, let's see, right here, this height right here, I'm just gonna calculate that this height here this height from here to here that you're going to cover up, it's going to be about 10 feet. Remember, it's going to be 9 feet, and then plus you're going to have your floor and joist, which is going to add another feet. So it's going to be about 10 feet. So you got your floor and joist here that's holding up this floor, and then you got 9 feet right here. So you add those two together, you're going to have about 10 feet. So what I end up doing is, see that girl right here. You can look at my formula that I use here. So right here, I'm going to take the linear feet. I'm going to multiply. I'm going to take that linear feet. I'm going to multiply it by 10 feet, right? And that's going to give me the total square footage of everything on that backside and the right and left, what I need. And then I'm going to divide by 32 square feet, which gives me that I'm probably going to need about 38 boards. Now, you got corners and stuff like that on that house, so I'm going to put about a 5% waste on here. Okay? You can kind of see my little formula for my waste. So I'm going to put that there, and that's how I got that, guys. Are there any questions? I'm trying to see top of the chat. Let me see if anybody chatted or anything. I don't think so. All right. So if you guys have questions, feel free to come in and ask a question, because this is my first time doing this right here, guys. I'm trying to learn how to navigate and ask questions and teach this stuff at the same time. All right, so let's go back here. So we got that taken care of, guys. So we got those taken care of. So now the next thing on my agenda is going to be, I'm going to need some cut nails. Those are nails because you got to do wall bracing. So guys, when you're doing construction, before you put let me get out of this screen right here. Guys, when you're doing construction, you got your exterior walls. So you think about your exterior walls are there. Then the next thing that's going to happen is when you get all your walls up, you're going to do your flooring joist. And what your flooring joisters are going to do, they're going to do a couple different things. If you got your exterior walls here, when you get those up there, the flooring joists, and you get them in place, they're going to keep the house from, well, your OSB is going to keep that. Your sheathing material is going to help keep that from happening too. But it's going to stabilize that structure and keep it in place. Okay. So you want to go ahead and get your flooring joists up there. Actually, you want to have your flooring joists up before you actually put the sheathing material on. But what you got to do is you have to stabilize all of the walls on the inside. You kind of go right here. All of these walls on the inside, you're going to have to stabilize each one of these walls so that they're going to be perfectly square and plumb when you start putting your flooring joists up here. So I'm going to order some 2x4x16 bracing. Now you can buy these things. They make a metal brace for framers, but what you want to do is you want to have a brace, probably go from this wall over here, another one go from here to here, and just holding up those walls and holding everything in place and keeping everything in place until you can get your flooring joists in and your OSB in, and then that'll stabilize that particular floor. Keep the whole house from just shifting and giving. Shear wall is what you're doing. Okay. So I went through each one of these rooms. As you can see right here, I got four bracing here, 4 wall bracing right there. I got 4 right here. I went through each one of them and put enough, and they're going to be 16 feet long. And guys, you're going to be able to use this lumber, those 2x4x16. So don't just count them out. You're going to actually be able to take all those, when they get finished bracing it up, they can put that lumber to the side, and they can use that lumber for your fascia material, your fascia board, and all that as something you can attach your fascia and your soffits. They can use that for that part. Okay. So I went through, when I went through each one of these rooms and I figured out how much bracing that we're gonna need on that basement level, You can see right here, going to the wrong screen here. You can see right here I got it. If I can move it down right here. I got about 9 rooms, about 4 per room. So that's about 36, 2 by 4 by 16. All right. Now the next thing you're going to get into is the next one, guys. It's going to be your floor joist. Okay. So now your floor and joist. Now the first thing you got to get, guys, is you got to have your rim board first. So your rim joist, that's going to be the first one. So I went through the whole exterior of this house right here. That's even the top floor too. So that's even this guy, and all. Well, not this. This right here area can be excluded because that's the front porch. But everywhere else, I ain't trying to get this right here to go away. There we go. But everywhere else, you're gonna have a rim board that's sitting there, and all the joists, all the floor and joists are gonna go into that joist. It's gonna go straight into it, just like this right here. But that's the entire perimeter of the home is gonna have that. So you got to put that in first, and then you got to look at your floor and joist. Now, you see right here, it's telling me. You guys can look at this little area right here. It's telling me that we have 2 by 12s in this area. And it's telling you which direction that they're going to span into. So the span is going to be, this span is going to go, it's going to go from this wall right here. It's going to span all the way over to this LVL beam. It's going to carry their load all the way around. So that's how it's going to do. And that's what this right here is telling me. That's what this detail is actually telling me right here on the that's what this detail is telling me right here. So you got 2 by 12s, and they're gonna be 16 inches on center. Okay. So what I did was I calculated, and you can do this on Excel, guys. Let's get a bump out of here. So if you see the area that I have in yellow right here, the kind of fat yellow line that's right here. This big yellow line here, what I did was I took the distance of that. I multiplied it by 12, and I divided by 16, and that told me how many floor and joists I'm going to need. And then also these floor and joists, since the distance that you're spanning, this right here distance is going to be 14 feet 10 inches. Well, lumber only comes in, even increments. So in this case right here, I'm going to have to get a 2 by 16 for that one. I'm gonna need 2 by 16. I think that's what I did. I might have even done a little bit bigger than that. Let me just make sure. What did I do it in? Yeah, by 16. Yeah. So that's what I'm gonna order. I may have to change this right here. So 2 by 12 by 16 at 16 inches on center. Then I also have 2 by 12 by 16 at 12 inches on center. Because if you look at the different ones, if I come here and I look at this right here on this side, I have these are 16 inches on center. Now this right here, this is a little odd right here, guys. If you can kind of look at this right here, this you can kind of see right here. Now these guys right here are going to be 12 inches on center. Okay, so they look closer, so you mean you're gonna need more of them. And you see how they have this yellow part, and it stops right here. It stops right here because there's a beam. Now the distance from this wall all the way to the brick on the outside is going to be 16 feet 2 inches. Now remember, you got that rim board out there, and this right here is actually the brick. This is the brick. So that means a 16-foot board, a 2 by 12 by 16 would work in this area right here. Which is why I kept that in yellow, because these are going to be all my 2 by 12 by 16 boards. Okay. So that's what you want to do right there. So the yellow, and you guys kind of see how I got this thing set up here. So the yellow part, these are going to be One of them is going to be 16 inches on center. The other one over here is going to be 12 inches on center. And I calculate how many of those I'm going to need. And I do the same thing for the blue. They're going to need the same size board. And then for this right here, yellow, for the pink looking one, we're going to use the same one, same thing. And when I do that, you kind of see right here, I'm going to go right here. All right, so there we go again. It's going to go right here. So I found out that I had 42 feet and 16 inches on center. And notice how I put my equation in here. So I took this guy, I took this 42 feet, multiplied by 12 to get the linear inches. Then I divided it by 16, and that gave me what I needed, which means I need 35 of those boards. I took a 10% waste too, okay? Which I can actually change that. I could change that waste if need be. So I have 2 extra boards, and there's somewhere we can always use those boards. So if we got 2 extra boards, there's some we can use it for roof bracing, things like that. If you guys join the members channel, you can see we'll talk about the roof bracing and how to get all that set up. Same thing here. Now this right here, I didn't have to multiply by anything because it gives us every foot. So every foot, which means we need about 25 boards. Did the same thing, 2 by 12 by 20. So on the green, if you guys kind of look at the green part, competition screen. So the green part, remember that this right here, these guys are actually bigger. These guys are actually really, they're not bigger, but longer. So if you look at the span on this right here, the span on this guy is going to be right here. It's going to be 18 feet 4 inches. So guys, I'm going to need to get, now I could probably get away with 18. I could probably get away with doing 18 because remember, this right here goes all the way, this distance goes all the way to the brick on the outside. So I can actually get away with 18 feet, which is probably what I'm going to end up doing. I got 20 feet right now, but I'm probably going to change that to 18. So I can get away with that on that. And these joists are going to be spanning, they're going to be spanning in this direction right here. And so I look at this distance from here, from here to here is where I'm going to need that at. Actually, I'm sorry. Where you see the green at is where I'm going to need those joists, those flooring joists. And they're still going to be 12 inches on center as well, to carry that weight, or to span that distance. And so so you can look at the green part. Just gonna go back here. So we can look at the green part, and there you have that as well. All right. Let me see, 2 by 12 by 12 floor and joist, 16 inches. Do I have a red part? And I did have a red part. Okay. Are there any questions on this right here, guys? Anybody have any questions on this? Then I'm gonna do one more thing, and that's gonna be the package for this particular floor. Now, notice one thing I didn't add here. I didn't add the house wrap. I didn't add the house wrap because I don't like for my framers to install house wrap. They just don't do a really good job. They don't make it really tight. So I hire somebody else other than my framers to do my house wrap, because this is all they do is focus on house wrap. Framers used to add house wrap as part of the package because they just put it on the walls as they go, and they lift the wall up. And they'd be flapping in the wind, and they don't tape it up real tight. So I don't let those guys do my house wrap. So we would, I don't even order house wrap from the lumber supplier. So we have that. Then we have, now the next thing we're going to need is the subfloor. Okay, so once you now I think the subfloor is going to come on the next package, with the main level floor, which is going to be, we can kind of go right here. So the subfloor typically is going to come on this right here package. This is the Meat and potatoes right here, guys. Now, if you guys wanna see me break this one down, you need to come to my members, join the members, and I do that. We're gonna get into that one today or tomorrow. But you'll be able to see us progress on this right here. Progress on getting the walls and everything figured out for the lumber package, just the lumber package on this right here. Take off. So now I went on ahead and did the subfloor, and the subfloor wasn't bad at all, because what I could do is I can go right here. You guys kind of see right here, and I can pull this number right here. This should help me out a whole lot. On that floor, you can look right here. Oh man, let me see. This right here usually happens, guys, every once in a while. Okay, everything's okay. So if I go right here, and let me make sure this right here is not going to go away. All right. So right here, you got that number right here, which is 2,138 square feet. All right. That's for the main level floor, and that's not including that main level garage. So I took that number. Keep going to the wrong one. I took that number, put it right here. Now each one of your flooring, your subfloor boards are gonna come in. They're gonna be 4x8, which is gonna be 32 square feet. So I take that and divide that number right there and divide by 32 square feet, and I added a 5% waste onto it, and that gave me 70 boards. So that's that, and guys, that should be that whole package for just the basement level. Now, when you get to the next level, it's going to be a whole nother ball game. The next level that's the meat and the potatoes of this right here. Like I said, guys, you guys want to take a look at that? Come to the come to the members portion of this right here. But guys, once again, let me just say this right here, guys. Your estimation can make or break you. If you guys are relying on that lumber salesman to do the estimation, they don't have any incentive to make sure they're operating very lean. It's just not, they don't care. As a matter of fact, the more lumber that you use, let me see if I got. I thought I had. Let me see if thought I had somebody. The more lumber that you guys use, the more money go in their pocket. Or the more waste you have, they don't care anything about waste. The more waste you have, the more money they make. So you got to be careful with those guys, man. And they're just you better know how to do the lumber package yourself, or you better have somebody on your team, on your side, that's working specifically for you, man. And their job is really to save you money doing your lumber package. And then not only that, guys, I mean, you just can't. I mean, you can operate very lean if you know how to do your own lumber package. Number two, you know where everything goes. You know what you ordered. But now you got to be accountable. If you mess some stuff up, that's on you. If you didn't order enough or stuff like that, that's on you. You got to be able to take that. But not only that, you can meet those framers out there and make sure that they're not misappropriating your lumber. And if they mess that up, and if you show them this whole sheet that I have right here, if you show them this right here, and you give them something similar to this right here, where you drew it up and told them where all the lumber goes, they shouldn't mess that up. If they mess that up, that's on them. Now you can hold them accountable. And this helps you be a better framer too. You understand how loads line up. You need to know that stuff. You need to know how this lumber package works. You need to understand headers and floor and joists and how all that stuff works together to build this house. You got to get that stuff. It just helps you out, helps you to be a better builder. This is a critical part of the game. Like I said, this is probably about a fourth or a fifth of the cost that you're going to pay for that whole house. If you're framing your lumber package. So I wouldn't mess that around for nothing, guys. Once again, guys, like, share, subscribe. I know I went a little long here. This is just an experiment right here, guys. I'm actually trying to learn how to do this. Looks like somebody came in on the chat, but I can't read it. So I'm having to learn how to do this right here as well. Let me see. Let me just do a test in here. See if it does anything. Oh, thank you. Somebody said that's the truth. I actually did have some chats, guys. Let me see. Man. Let me see this right here. I can't get it to go down. Chat. Let me see if I can get it. Top of the chat. I can't get it to go down. I can't get this thing to get out. Let me see, testing again. Oh, Kadera. Probably shouldn't have said your name, man. But my members group is, guys, I had a person that was one of the builders called me, because guys, on my regular channel I had so much stuff up there until I had people out here taking my information and actually going out here trying to build their own house, and they were getting into nightmares. And then these same people that end up calling somebody trying to get a bailout now. I don't want my channel to be misleading. I don't want people to look at my channel and say, man, I can use that to go build my own house now. You know, he give me so much information. Guys, the information that I put on my channel is a very small amount of information that you're gonna need in order to build. I probably give you 25% of what you're gonna need. Now, on my members channel, I have a couple of different things that I offer, guys. I offer, like this right here. What we're doing right here, I'm just giving you the basement. On the members channel, I would have everything. I would have it. I would go through the main level, the top level, and the roof. The roof is where you really get into deep. The roof is the toughest one. So I do that, and then I also have a house that I'm actually using, that I'm building right now. Matter of fact, one of the contractors called me. I got to go over there and we hit rock. So I'm gonna take that house all the way from the permitting, and go into detail on what you guys are gonna need to go from permitting all the way to the end of that house. And that's gonna be each week. I'm gonna have something up about what is it we're trying to accomplish and where we're trying to go at this week. Also, the members channel will allow you, if you're one of my members, you can access me for, for coaching, and I probably give each one of my members maybe about maybe an hour a month. No, that's too much. But I let, you guys can give me a call. You will have access to me. You can give me a call if you run up on, if you're out there engaged, and you run into problems and stuff like that, especially with these municipalities, and things that you got to deal with those guys, that would allow you to access me. You can either text me, etc. And basically I'm actually teaching you how to build. But I'd rather you guys go out here and, if you're going to try to build, a lot of people doing this flip thing, stuff like that. I'd rather you guys go ahead and get your home builder's license. My son just got his, and, he been at it, but he was under my guidance, guys. But I have most of my students. I probably have I only had one student that took my course at Lawson that didn't get their builder's license, and they missed the skill portion. Is an older guy. He just said, heck with it. But everybody else who took the test, they got their home builder's license now. And so I'd rather, if you guys are going to be doing flips and building, just get your builder's license. Just go and get your home builder's license. Keep that thing going every year. Get your LLC. Become the designated qualifying representative for that LLC. I suggest you guys do that. Okay. Once again, guys, like, share, subscribe. This is just the beginning. This is the beginning, but thanks, Daryl, for asking that question. Let me see if I got anything else, man. I'm just putting stuff in, man. Just let me see. Okay, yeah. So now that's all I need. All right, guys. You guys have a good one, and thanks for stopping in.